Okay, mate. Let's look here. Myth MYTH. Let's check it. Yeah, for the near future, you can see here is a daily. I just want to zoom out here a little bit. I'm just still getting my charts and everything sorted. But let's see. When did you send that message, actually? That could be important. Yeah, you said this. I was probably traveling 8 a.m. I wonder, is that my time now? I think it is set up to my time. So it's quite a while ago, actually. It's now 2 a.m. My time. So if that is correct, it's, you sent this almost yesterday. So I do apologize for the late reply on this. I was traveling yesterday, but you can see, the weekly, this was a bearish weekly stop on. And you can see again, we've bounced back up into about the 50% retrace level, a little bit more than that. And now prices drop right back down and it is pushing lower. So let's just check this. Yeah, so yesterday it did have a big move. I'm not sure if it moved early in the day or not yet. I have not checked that, but that was a huge spike. I'm not sure if you're in this or not. That could have been quick profits if you're in for a quick trade. You can see after, it's a good example here actually, because after you get these sort of rejections here, well, you can see what happened. The price died out for a period of time. So, is it possible that the price can die out again here for a bit? It is very possible. And you can also see that it went lower than the rejection candle. Look at the rejection candle, and then price kind of chopped about, but went lower and continued to chop about. That resulted in, well, it was a failed move to the downside. Then you can see here, kind of failed to the downside, and we come back up and reclaim before going higher. Uh, I would suggest that something similar can happen here. That we can. There's a large wick here. Let's it's just getting a bit messy there. So you can see this wick here. I would say we're probably going to drop and fill this wick down here. A failure drop wick down, and then we need to see if it can actually recover. But after rejection like this yesterday, it can be a test pump. These can be bullish test pumps right here, but it is very possible that price goes below the large rejection candle, just like it did here. Okay, so I don't really like the FOMO right here. I would probably like to see it go lower. It may bounce first, right? Sometimes you get the bounce first, then a rejection and come down back down again, before some sort of recovery. Let's zoom out. That's kind of the near term action after yesterday. That's the way I would be looking at it. I don't like the FOMO here. I'd probably like to see something like this first. You can see there it kind of bounced back up a little bit, but not really. It didn't give a great bounce. Let's just look at some of the larger time frames. Now, there is something interesting developing here potentially. This could be a large wick to the downside, and it could be trying to recover on a yearly basis. If that was recovering on a yearly basis, of course, this could be nearly or in and around a major bottom. Okay, so that is interesting. Now, I can see Av here on my other screen, and Av is into a very, very, interesting decent place as well that could give large bounce. So just something to keep in mind. But this, that's a rejection. That is a rejection, and there's a wick below it. I would say that, it's more than likely that the wick down here below wants to fill. And down here, oh, that didn't work. This down here, this somewhere in there is, really the first place that you really want to be looking for after this rejection. And then we got to assess the overall market when we get down here. How low is Bitcoin going to go as a total market cap trying to bottom out? But a lot of these altcoins have pretty badly, and some of them are starting to look very good. Maybe not very good, but AV and different coins, they're starting to come into major levels. They may go a little bit lower, but they're starting to come into those levels that we need to be watching. It is a new quarter. It's very normal to come down and maybe stop onto a new quarter, or after that bearish bad quarter, it's pretty natural to come a bit lower than that. Um, so you can see here on the monthly as well, a bit of rejection. So that's what I would suggest so far. The rejections here, rejection 4 week. Mm, not the biggest fan of the 4 week chart, but I prefer to use the monthly. But the four, but you can see here on the 2 week we've rejected here also and come back down. There is 10 days left, so it's not ideal. You know that was a scam wick higher that is now kind of changed. The chart to be more bearish. It is what it is. It's small liquidity coin most likely. Uh, just looking, you know, for me, I think it needs to go a bit lower into here, right? That's where I would start to get more interested in it. If it comes down in here, you know, watch carefully to see if it can find that bottom. Now you can see that level. You know, it's a big level. It's a huge level, and coming down in there, the red 200. Now, if the overall market was going to start to bounce, this is actually not bad, right? If this could come down, hold the higher low here, consolidate before moving back up, you know, it's not that bad. I mean, obviously it's bad if this level starts to not hold and we break below it, of course. But if this level can hold here, it is actually not a bad chart. It's stop hunting the lows here, and this can be a deviation below uh, with these moving averages. Now, I think there was another example I looked at earlier. You see the way this red 200, it's not it's what I'm trying to get at is if it could consolidate here and hold this low, the red 200 will consolidate here. Any movement upwards then would get above the red 200 and be able to move higher. But obviously, this red 200 needs to drop down into price. The white 100 needs to drop down into price. And as we talked about, that low, the retrace down here somehow needs to hold and consolidate in here while letting these moving averages drop and consolidate, then it needs to, get above them and move higher. This is a 3 day chart. So it's got a bit of work to do, but unless, if, as long as there's not going to be any major crashes or anything, this is still okay. But these levels down here, they do need to hold. So it's trying to form a bottom. It's trying to fill the quarterly wick here. Was it quarterly or monthly? Maybe both. Um, and if it does hold that, it's within a shout. It's got a chance of holding here and moving higher. Because as we talked about, the yearly is trying to do something. Now it's not easy. I'm not saying it's definite, but as you can see here, it's created that wick and it's below this volume. Somehow, if it could put in that quarterly low that we talked about, any strength then would flip this green, and then if it does flip green, it changes the whole perspective of this chart, and there's liquidity might want to come up for. So I would be watching on that dip further down into this wick, and kind of take it from there. Anyway, mate, yeah, I hope you're well. I hope it helps.